Hi everybody, let's do IXL 5th grade AA.8. Go to Learning, scroll down to 5th grade, and then go to AA.8, Measure Angles with a Protractor. All right, so how are we going to do this? Let's go over to Friedman Math and find the reference pages. Angles are on page 14. Scroll down to page 14. Here I am on page 14. And then you'll find this section over here, which is called Using a Protractor. Let's zoom in a little bit. When measuring an angle, the vertex should always be in the bottom center part of the protractor. So over here, if I were measuring this angle, which is made from these two lines here, I can see that the vertex of those two lines, the point where they intersect, is right over here, which is also in the center of the protractor. So if we were doing this on measuring an angle on a piece of paper, and we actually had to put the protractor on the paper on top of the angle, then we would have to make sure that the vertex is in this bottom center part. But I believe that for this IXL exercise, IXL is always going to put the vertex of the angle in the bottom center part. So they do that for you. What else do we need to know in order to measure an angle? Well, you should also notice that there are two zeros on a protractor and two sets of numbers. So actually, let me go over to IXL here. There is, if you look, you see there's a zero. Whoa, it's happening again. Okay, there's a zero over here on the right side, and there's another zero over here on the left side. There are two zeros on a protractor, and there are also two sets of numbers on a protractor. So, for example, there is one set of numbers over here, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and so on, going up to 180 on the other side. But then there is a second set of numbers over here, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on, going to 180 on this side. So there are two zeros, and there are also two sets of numbers. Now we need to find which zero the line is pointing to. So on the protractor, remember, we're trying to measure this angle. And the angle is made up of two lines. It's made up of this line and this line. Let's just look at that horizontal line right now. We need to find which zero the line is pointing to and use that set of numbers. Okay, so in this example that I gave you on the reference page, again, there are two zeros. There's a zero over here and there's a zero over here. And there are two sets of numbers. There's this set of number over here, and there's this set of numbers over here. Which set of numbers are we going to use? We need to figure out which zero the line is pointing to in order to figure out which set of numbers to use. So this line is pointing towards this zero right over here. So we will use this set of numbers and then just follow this set of numbers up until we hit this other line making the angle. And we see that this angle over here is, I know you can't see that right now, but this says 60 right over here. So this angle would be 60 degrees. Now, if you look at this other example that I gave you on the reference pages, this line over here seems to be moving in the same direction as this line. In fact, they are moving in the exact same direction, right? So this line is exactly parallel to this line. Does that mean that this angle is also 60 degrees, just like this angle was 60 degrees? The answer is no, because in this case, the horizontal line is going to the left, so I have to find the 0 that is on the left side of the protractor. So that would be this 0 right over here, which tells me that in order to measure this angle, I would have to use this outside set of numbers over here, and I would get to, that says, I know it's hard to see, but that says 120 degrees. So this angle would be 120 degrees. And that should make sense because I can see very clearly, going back to this angle, this is clearly an acute angle. So it's less than 90 degrees. Remember, 90 degrees would be 90 degrees would be like this, which is the corner of a square. So I can see that this angle is clearly less than 90 degrees, right? So 60 degrees makes sense as the answer. Whereas, again, let me draw a right angle on the other protractor. This would be a right angle. That's 90 degrees. I can see that this angle over here is obtuse. It's bigger than 90 degrees. So my answer for this angle of 120 degrees makes sense. 120 is bigger than 90. So with that in mind, let's go over to the IXL. And let's do some IXL problems. So again, I see that this line is pointing to two numbers. I see over here, I see 160 here, I see 150 here. So right between them, this number must be 155. But I also see that this line is pointing on this set of numbers, it's pointing between the 20 and the 30, right? So I have 20 over here, I have 30 over here. So it's halfway between them. So that would be 25 degrees. Okay, so which one is it? Is it 25 degrees or is it 155 degrees? How are we supposed to know? Well, remember, we have to use the set of numbers that starts at 0. In other words, I need to look at this horizontal line over here, and I see that it's going through this 0 right over here, and I have to use the set of numbers beginning with this 0. So that would be the outside set of numbers. So I'm going to use 25 degrees, not 155 degrees. And again, that makes sense because this angle over here is clearly an acute angle. It is less than 90 degrees. So 155 degrees does not make sense. 155 degrees is more than 90 degrees. 25 degrees makes sense. What's the measurement of this angle? In this case, we see that the horizontal line is moving to the right. So here's 0. Here's the 0 on the right side of the protractor. So for this problem, I'm going to be using the set of numbers that's on the inside of the protractor. So starting from 0, I follow these set of numbers over here, the inside set of numbers now, and I get my answer over here of of 60 degrees. So this angle is 60 degrees, which again makes sense because this is acute, right? It's less than 90 degrees. Okay, so 120 degrees, if you said 120 degrees, that would not make sense because 120 degrees would be greater than 90. Remember, 90 degrees looks like this. That's 90 degrees. This is clearly less than a right angle. So it has to be less than 90 degrees, not more than 90 degrees. So 60 makes sense. All right, again, we are going to follow the horizontal line until we hit 0, then use that set of numbers, and we see that this one is equal to, that's 140 degrees. All right, I'll do one more from this level, and then I'll jump a level, see if the questions are any different. So in this problem, I'm going to follow, use this. I'm going to follow the horizontal line to the left here. I find 0, and I'm going to use the set of numbers starting with 0. So that's going to be the outside set of numbers here all the way until I get over here, and that would be 170 degrees. Okay, and again, that makes sense, right? So really the choices are either 170 degrees or 10 degrees. And if you ask yourself which answer makes more sense, 170 or 10, it has to be 170. That makes sense. Why does that make sense? Because if I think of a right angle here, 90 degrees, okay, this is a right angle. The angle that we're looking at is clearly bigger than a right angle. So if a right angle is 90 degrees, I'm looking for a number which is bigger than 90 degrees. 170 is bigger than 90. 10 is not bigger than 90. So 170 degrees makes sense here. Okay, so I'm going to jump a level and see if, okay, is this angle acute, right, or obtuse? So that just means, is it bigger than 90 degrees? Is it acute? Well, acute means less than 90 degrees. Right means 90 degrees. Obtuse means greater than 90 degrees. Acute is less than 90 degrees. Excuse me. Right is equal. Wow, what the heck am I doing? Less than 90 degrees. Okay, I messed that up. Acute is less than 90. Acute is less than 90 degrees. Right is equal to 90 degrees. And obtuse is greater than 90 degrees. Okay, now this angle over here, that's a pretty small angle. So we can see right off the bat, that would be less than 90 degrees. So that would be acute. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead to the next level. Oh, challenge zone right away. Okay, here, okay. Let's see, this is not quite on the reference pages. All of the examples on the reference pages have the angle, have one of the lines horizontal, so it's going through 0. Now, this one is a little bit different. So for this one, actually, it doesn't matter which set of numbers we use. So we could use the outside set of numbers or the inside set of numbers. And if I use the outside set of numbers, I see that this right over here is 135 degrees. And this over here is 115 degrees. And to find the angle, all we would need to do is 135 minus 115, and that would be 20 degrees. So this angle here is 20 degrees. The rotation between the two lines is 20 degrees. Now, like I said, we can use either set of numbers. So I would get the same answer if I use the inside set of numbers. I said this line is right between 40 and 50. So I'll write 45 degrees over here. And this line is right between 45. Yeah, this line is between 7. What am I doing? Oh my goodness. Okay, now I realize what I just. So this. Sorry, sorry. That should not have been 115 degrees. That should have been. Oh my goodness. That should have been 105 degrees. Sorry, back here between 100 and 110, that should have been 105 degrees. So let me change that there. Sorry about that. Yeah, so this should be 30 degrees, not 20 degrees. So this angle would be 30 degrees, because I'm just realizing that I would have gotten a different answer, but I shouldn't be getting a different answer. So this would be 75 degrees. And then again, if we go from between them, so we could subtract and do 75 minus 45 is equal to, again, 30 degrees. Okay, so it doesn't matter which set of numbers we use, we're going to be getting the same answer. So we'll put 30, there we go. Okay, is this angle acute, right, or obtuse? You know, you could do, let's see, this would be over here, 150, 160. So the very middle would be 155. This is a little bit more. This is one more than that. So this would be 156. Okay, and over here, this looks to be going exactly between 10 and 20. So that would be 15. Then again, we could do 156 minus 15 is equal to 141, which is greater than 90 degrees. So by definition, anything that's greater than 90 degrees is an obtuse angle. So remember, just going back to the reference pages, an obtuse angle, a right angle is 90 degrees. An angle that's less than 90 degrees is acute, and an angle that is greater than 90 degrees is obtuse. So that would be obtuse. Now you can also just look at it with your eyes, and you can say to yourself, well, this is a pretty big angle, right? A right angle would look something that it wasn't even very good. A right angle would look about like that. I didn't even do a very good job drawing it, but that would be approximately equal to a right angle 90 degrees. So we can see that this angle here is bigger than a right angle. So again, just using our eyes, we can see that that is obtuse. All right, what is the measurement of this angle? So this is one just like the other ones that we were doing. That would be, again, if this is horizontal, then it's pretty easy. I just find 0, start at 0, and then use that set of numbers, and that would be 70 degrees. Am I getting anything different? Okay, I'll just do one more of these because I feel like I messed up the last one. So I want to do one well. Um, Again, I can use either set of numbers here. So if I use this set of numbers, I'm doing, here's 50, here's 25. Now if we do 50 minus 25, then we get 25. Or if we use this set of numbers, which is going from 130 to 155, if we subtract those, 155 minus 130, oops, oops. That should not be there. 1 minus 1 is, of course, 0. So there's nothing there. Okay, so again, we get 25 degrees. Okay, so it doesn't matter which set of numbers you use here. Just pick a set and then subtract the values. In either case here, we get 25 degrees. Let's see if the next one is different, then I'll do it. If not, then I'm going to end it there. Let's see. Okay, this is the same thing. Oh, well, actually, no, it's not quite. Okay, so I'm going to do this one. Because I said the last one that was asking me for acute, right, or obtuse, I told you that you could just use your eyes to figure it out. For this one, it's not as easy to use your eyes, okay? Because this one, just using your eyes, it's not so easy to tell if it's greater than 90 degrees or less than 90 degrees or exactly equal to 90 degrees. It looks like it's equal to 90 degrees, but you can't always go by just what it looks like because maybe it's, let's say, 91 degrees. That would make it obtuse. Or maybe it's 89 degrees. Even though it looks like it's 90, maybe it's 89 degrees. So in that case, it would be acute. So for something like this, you can't just go by what your eyes tell you. It's better to do the math here. But the math is easy, and the math is like the other questions that we've done. So I can just pick a set of numbers here, and let's say I use the outside set of numbers. This would be 90, this is 100, so this would be 95. And here this is 0, this is 10, this would be 5. So if we do 95 minus 5, then we do get exactly 90 degrees. So that would be a right angle. Okay, and I think I'm going to end it there. Hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a great day.